And the fact that it's found in the water, downriver, yeah, it's just strange. It's strange. So we're organizing a search for Jack and Lily Sullivan. We are relying on community members to come and join those efforts. We're going to offer like a little bit of shooting from the hip training on walking along looking for evidence. We've had about 40 people volunteer, but overnight you've had some people drop out. So
everything we thought we knew about the Lilly and Jack investigation has just shifted because the RCMP has now pointed to two specific clues that are shaping the next phase of this case. Clues that explain why this investigation is still active, still expanding, and still far from over. To understand why these new confirmations matter, here's the grounded recap. Expanded with full context, deeper narration, and stronger pacing to keep viewers locked in from the very first sentence. Lilly and Jack were reported missing from their home on Gairloch Road in Pictou County on the morning of May 2nd, a rural stretch of Nova Scotia, where people know their neighbors. Traffic is minimal, and unusual activity rarely goes unnoticed. According to the initial RCMP briefing, everything appeared normal inside the home that morning. No forced entry, no signs of struggle, no indication of a rushed departure. And that's exactly what made the situation immediately alarming. Two very young children do not simply vanish without leaving any trace. Within hours, the RCMP launched what quickly grew into one of the largest coordinated searches in the province's recent history. Multiple specialized RCMP units were called in, each handling a different layer of the investigation. Ground teams swept the surrounding forests, fields, and trails, marking off every section with precision. K-9 units were deployed early, searching for any scent trail that could indicate where the children went or whether they were moved. Drone teams flew grid patterns over large wooded areas, looking for disturbed ground, discarded clothing, or movement. Door-to-door interviews swept across the neighborhood, with officers speaking to residents, travelers, and anyone who might have driven to the area during the critical window. At the same time, investigators were gathering digital evidence at a scale rarely seen in a rural case. Thousands of hours of security camera and dashcam footage were voluntarily submitted by the public, from highway cameras, residential systems, business surveillance, and even cyclist helmet cams. Technicians combed through the footage frame by frame, looking for any sighting of the children, any unfamiliar vehicle, or any irregular movement near the home. Dozens of witnesses were interviewed, from family members to neighbors to delivery drivers. Hundreds of tips poured in, each logged, tracked, and cross-referenced with a timeline. And after months of sorting through an overwhelming amount of information, two clues, just two, began to stand out from everything else. These are the clues now shaping the direction of the investigation. The first major clue comes from what RCMP confirmed about the digital evidence. Investigators say they collected enormous volumes of video from homes, businesses, and traffic routes, and importantly, they clarified that their team is still analyzing it months later. This is not something investigators say casually. Digital evidence is one of the most time-consuming parts of any modern investigation, and the fact that the RCMP continues to devote resources to reviewing it suggests there is material within those files that cannot be ignored or dismissed. Why does that matter? Because police agencies do not keep sifting through footage unless it contains movements, gaps, or timestamps that they believe are relevant to the case. If all the footage showed nothing useful, the review would have been scaled back long ago. Instead, the RCMP has emphasized that digital analysis remains active, which implies that somewhere within those thousands of hours, there are moments that either don't line up, don't match expected patterns, or raise enough questions to require a deeper second look. This confirmation tells us something crucial. The timeline the public knows is not fully closed. There are pieces of the day, or possibly the night before, that investigators are still verifying. They may be cross-checking multiple angles of the same vehicle. They may be comparing the movement of residents and travelers along Gairloch Road during the critical window. They may be examining any unusual gaps in recorded footage, moments where a camera flickered, motion detection failed, or a vehicle passed too quickly to identify. Even something as small as a car slowing down near the property could become significant depending on when it occurred. This clue carries major weight because it means investigators believe the truth is hidden somewhere in the digital trail. Cameras don't panic, they don't forget, and they don't misinterpret. They record what happened. And if RCMP analysts are still dissecting those files, it suggests they're looking for, or have already found, something in the footage that could clarify what happened to Lilly and Jack. The second confirmed clue is the scale and treatment of the public tips. RCMP publicly stated that they have received hundreds of tips from residents, drivers, travelers, outdoor workers, and even people outside the province. But the most important part is not the number. It's what investigators confirm they are still doing with those tips. Months after the disappearance, RCMP says they are still sorting, validating, and actively following up on new information as it comes in. That detail alone changes the entire picture of the investigation. Police do not continue processing tips unless there is reason to believe that new pieces of information could meaningfully shift the direction of the case. When a case is truly dormant, tips slow down, follow-up work decreases, and the focus moves primarily to archival maintenance. But here, investigators are still going through each message, each voicemail, each statement, each observation from people who thought they saw something unusual around Gairloch Road, or who noticed something after reviewing their own footage weeks later. That continued activity signals momentum, not stagnation. RCMP also doesn't dedicate personnel to tip validation unless some of the information coming in has the potential to either strengthen or challenge parts of the known timeline. This could mean tips suggesting a sighting at a specific hour, a vehicle spotted near the property, or a noise or event someone remembered only after seeing news coverage months later. Even if a tip doesn't solve the case on its own, it can still support a sequence of events investigators are building. And that is why every credible piece gets reviewed. Another key point: investigators would not be publicly encouraging people to keep submitting information unless they believe credible leads still exist. RCMP doesn't want noise. They want substance. The fact that they're still receiving and analyzing new directions from the public shows that people are continuing to report things that investigators consider worth documenting. This confirms something essential for understanding the current state of the investigation. The case is not cold. It remains active, ongoing, and responsive, and the influx of public information is playing a direct role in shaping the next steps of the search for answers in Lilly and Jack's disappearance. So what do these two clues actually tell us? When you put them side by side, the ongoing digital analysis and the continued follow-up on public tips, they create a picture that is completely different from a case that has stalled or gone silent. Instead, they show an investigation that is information-heavy, not evidence-empty. This means RCMP is not dealing with a lack of material. They are dealing with an abundance of it. And in cases like this, where physical clues are minimal, information becomes the backbone of progress. These clues also reveal that RCMP is working with multiple layers of data, far beyond the initial boots-on-the-ground searches that dominated the early days. In most investigations involving young missing children, physical searches taper off quickly if they produce no visible results. But what continues, quietly, methodically, is the analysis of what people saw, what cameras captured, what vehicles passed by, and what timelines can be confirmed or challenged. This multi-level approach is exactly what we're seeing here. It's not just a search. It's a reconstruction of a window of time down to minutes, sometimes even seconds. And when investigators focus on this level of detail, it usually means they believe the answers may be hidden in places most people overlook. The digital fingerprints of ordinary life. That includes video timestamps, the precise markers that show when a vehicle appeared or when a person walked past a camera. It includes movement patterns, how cars traveled along Gairloch Road, which direction they turned, and whether anything deviated from the normal daily rhythm of the area. And it includes tips that align with those digital records, especially when multiple independent pieces of information point toward the same moment or movement. The truth is, these clues show a case that is still evolving. They point to investigators piecing together a mosaic made from digital fragments, eyewitness memory, and unexplained gaps. And the fact that RCMP continues to examine those pieces suggests they believe that within this information-dense puzzle lies the key to understanding what really happened to Lilly and Jack. As RCMP continues to review footage, recheck key areas, and process new tips, the most important question becomes, which piece of evidence will tie the timeline together? Because if these two confirmed clues lead where investigators think they will, the next update could be the most important of the entire search.